Hey everyone, and welcome to this mini deep dive. We're going to be tackling your biggest questions about hiring web developers.
Yeah, it can be a tough process.
Yeah, it really can. There's a lot to consider. So we're here to help guide you through it. And hey, speaking of guidance, did you know that the perfectdeveloper.com actually has this awesome tool called the 5 questions?
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It helps you figure out exactly what you need for your project, and it connects you with the perfect developers, whether you're looking for freelancers, full-timers, or anything in between.
Sounds useful.
It really is. So we highly recommend checking it out. It's at theperfectdeveloper.com, and it's honestly a quick and easy way to make sure you're on the right track from the start.
Definitely. So let's dive into some of those common questions people have, like what exactly do web developers do?
Yeah, that's a great starting point. We hear all these terms like front end and back end, but what do those actually mean?
It's a good question. So think of it like building a house.
Okay, I like that analogy.
You've got the exterior, right?
Yeah.
The part that everyone sees. And then you have the interior with all the wiring and plumbing that makes it function.
Makes sense.
So in web development, the front end is like that exterior.
So it's all the visual stuff.
Exactly. It's what you see and interact with on a website. All the buttons, the layout, the design, that's all front end.
So front-end developers are making sure that Digital House looks amazing,
And that it's functional too. Then you've got the back end.
which is like the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Exactly. Like the engine room of the website. Back end developers work with databases, servers, and all the logic that makes the website work.
So they're making sure everything runs smoothly behind the scenes.
Precisely. And then you have full stack developers.
Those are the ones who can do it all.
Yeah. They're like the general contractors of web development. They can handle both front end and back end tasks.
So they're like the superheroes of the web dev world.
You could say that.
Right.
And depending on your project, you might also need a web designer.
Yeah, to create that initial vision.
Exactly. They'll handle the visual concepts and user experience.
So we've got our different types of web developers. But how are web developers different from other kinds of developers out there?
Ah, that's a key distinction. While software developers build applications for your computer or phone, web developers focus specifically on creating online experiences.
So it's all about that user experience on the web.
Exactly. They need to think about things like user interface design, browser compatibility, search engine optimization, stuff that's unique to the web.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
So they're not just writing code. They're building a whole digital world.
Exactly. And it's a world that needs to function seamlessly within the larger online ecosystem.
So let's say you're ready to start hiring a web developer. What skills should you be looking for?
You're going to want a mix of technical chops and people skills.
The best of both worlds.
Exactly. Of course, they need to be fluent in the core web languages like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Those are the essentials.
Right. But then there are frameworks and libraries which are like power tools for coding.
So instead of building everything from scratch, they can use these pre-built components.
Precisely. And it makes the development process much faster and more efficient.
So which frameworks should we be looking for?
For front-end development, React, Angular, and Vue.js are really popular. And for back-end, you'll often see Node.js, Python, or PHP.
And full stack developers would need to be comfortable with both sides.
Right? Absolutely. Plus, a solid understanding of databases is essential for any web developer.
Because data is everything these days.
It really is. And beyond the technical skills, you also want someone who's a good problem solver.
Because let's face it, things don't always go according to plan in web development.
Exactly. You want someone who's adaptable, resourceful, and can think critically to find solutions.
And communication skills are important too.
Oh, absolutely. You need a developer who can clearly explain their ideas and work effectively in a team.
So someone who can code and communicate.
Precisely.
Now for the big question. How much should you expect to pay a web developer?
That's a tricky one. It really depends on experience, location, and the specific skills needed.
So there's no magic number?
Not really, but theperfectdeveloper.com can give you insights into salary trends.
So it can help you figure out what's fair and competitive.
Exactly. And remember, while it's tempting to go for the cheapest option, it's usually wiser to invest in a developer with a proven track record.
Quality over quantity.
Right, exactly. You want someone who has the right skills and experience for your project.
It's all about finding that balance between cost and quality.
Precisely. Now let's talk about the different hiring models. You've got full-time, part-time, freelancers, and outsourcing. How do you know which one is right for you?
That's a lot of options.
It is, but that's where understanding your project scope and long-term needs comes in.
So how do you figure that out?
Well, a platform like theperfectdeveloper.com can really help you weigh the pros and cons of each model.
So it's like having a guide through the hiring maze.
Exactly. If you have a large-scale project with ongoing needs, a full-time in-house developer might be the way to go.
They're like a dedicated member of your team.
Right. But if you're a startup or a smaller company, a part-time developer or a freelancer could be a better fit.
Especially if you're on a tighter budget.
Exactly.
Mm.
And freelancers are great for short-term projects or those that require specialized skills.
So it's about aligning your hiring model with your project's life cycle
Precisely.
and budget constraints.
Exactly. And theperfectdeveloper.com can help you find the right talent for those specific needs.
Sounds like a valuable resource.
It really is. It is. Now, once you've figured out the right hiring model, you need to attract those talented developers.
Right. How do you do that?
It starts with a killer job description.
That's your chance to make a good first impression.
Exactly. You want something exciting that really grabs their attention.
So how do you make a job description stand out?
Clarity and specificity are key.
Okay.
Don't just say web developer. Be specific about the role. Front end, back end, full stack.
Right. You want to target the right people.
Exactly. And clearly outline the technical skills you need, whether it's experience with the specific languages, frameworks, or databases.
So they know what they're getting into.
Right. But don't just focus on the technical stuff.
You need those soft skills too.
Absolutely. Communication, problem solving, teamwork. Those are all essential.
Makes sense. Because a developer who can't communicate effectively isn't going to be a good fit.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to highlight what makes your project exciting.
Like what challenges they'll be solving.
Right. Or what impact they'll have. You want to appeal to their passion for coding.
So it's about more than just filling a position.
It is. You're inviting someone to join your team and contribute their talents.
Okay. So you've got this amazing job description. Where do you post it?
Traditional job boards can work, but don't underestimate the power of specialized platforms like theperfectdeveloper.com.
Oh, yeah. I've heard good things about them.
They have a pool of pre-vetted talent, so it saves you a lot of time in the screening process.
That's helpful. And what about networking?
Networking is huge. Industry events, conferences, online communities like GitHub.
Those are all great ways to connect with developers.
Exactly. And get a sense of their personality and skills.
So you've got applications coming in. What's next?
Time to start sifting through them.
The fun part.
Don't just skim resumes. Really dive in, look for those specific skills and experience that align with your project.
And the portfolio is key.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's where you can see their work firsthand.
So pay close attention to the quality of their projects.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look at the complexity of the work, their coding style, how they approach problem solving.
It's about getting a feel for their expertise.
Precisely. Then, once you've identified some promising candidates, it's time for the technical interview,
The moment of truth.
where those coding skills are put to the test. Yeah. The technical interview is where you really get to see how they think and solve problems.
So what does a technical interview look like?
It can vary, but you might give them a coding challenge.
Like on the spot.
Exactly. Or ask them to walk you through a project they've worked on.
So you can see their thought process.
Right. And platforms like HackerRanked can be helpful for standardized tests.
I've heard of that.
But don't discount a good old-fashioned whiteboard session or a live coding exercise.
Those can be a little intense. But they do show you how a candidate thinks under pressure.
Exactly. And while technical skills are essential, don't forget about those soft skills.
Communication, teamwork, adaptability.
Exactly. You want someone who can work well with others and handle challenges gracefully.
So ask some behavioral questions to gauge those skills.
Definitely. And always check references.
That's so important.
Talk to their past employers or colleagues. Get a sense of their work ethic and how they collaborate.
It's that final piece of the puzzle.
Right. Now, once you've found that perfect developer, the next step is onboarding.
Making them feel welcome and supported.
Exactly. Give them a clear plan for their first few weeks. Make sure their workspace is set up. Introduce them to the team.
It's about making that transition as smooth as possible.
And remember, investing in your developer's growth is key.
So provide opportunities for professional development.
Exactly. Conferences, online courses, encourage them to explore new technologies.
Because continuous learning is essential in this field.
Absolutely. And don't forget to recognize their hard work.
A little appreciation goes a long way.
It really does. So as we wrap up this mini deep dive into hiring web developers, remember that theperfectdeveloper.com is a fantastic resource.
They can help you every step of the way.
From clarifying your needs to connecting with the right developers.
And don't forget about the 5 questions tool. It's a great way to kickstart your search.
So whether you're building a simple website or a complex application, Finding the right web developers is crucial for your success.
It's an investment worth making.
Absolutely. Take your time, explore your options, and use the resources available to you.
And remember, building a successful web development team is about more than just technical skills. It's about creating a positive and supportive environment where everyone can thrive.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's mini deep dive. We hope you found it helpful.
And remember, if you're looking to hire talented web developers, head over to theperfectdeveloper.com.
They'll help you find the perfect match for your project. Until next time, happy coding, everyone.
Yeah.